Hey everyone, today we're checking out the world of audio with a review of the Razer Seirēn X, or Seirēn if you guys call it that way. Let's get into it. Razer came out with this all the way back in 2017 with its retail price of $99.99 USD or 100 USD if you round up. Unboxing the device, we are greeted with the Razer branded stickers, its user manual, then we get the microphone. Under this we get the stand adapter, and a 2-meter long braided micro USB to USB-A cable. With the unboxing finished, we can take a look at the microphone itself. Its specifications are that it's just made of metal and plastic. Starting with the weight, the base plate itself weighs 218.6 grams. The adapter for the plate and the microphone weighs 8.6 grams, while the microphone itself weighs 159.4 grams. Resulting in an overall weight of 386.5 grams if you choose to use the stand. Its item dimensions are 3.54 by 3.54 by 7.28 inches. It has a volume knob on the front. Below it, we have its mute button. On the bottom, we get the headphone jack, its micro USB port, and a 5/8 thread for a mic stand. And then here on the front and back, we have its metal mesh for the microphone. Moving down to tech specs, its frequency range is 20 Hz all the way to 20 kHz. Signal to noise ratio of 78 decibels. Now that we're done that, let's get into device setup. Plugging the microphone in, we get a light up on the mute key, either green for on or red for muted. Moving over to our computer, here we have the Razer Synapse dashboard, and you can see that there's no microphone for devices. So if we want to actually modify our microphone, go into sound settings, hit sound control panel, click on recording, scroll down till you see your microphone, and here's our microphone properties. If we hit listen, we can hit playback, custom, levels is where you set your microphone level, and here's where you can hit advanced and modify anything here. But that's pretty much about it. There's no way to modify this using Razer software. Everything out of the gate is pretty much just plug and play, and everything that you need is actually on the microphone itself. In the case of volume for output of the microphone, so you can plug your headphones in and use it that way, as we've seen before. Or just modify your microphone volume here under the sound settings. Now, it doesn't make any sense that Razer did not include them here under devices, so you can modify it that way, but I guess it was a lot easier than integrating into it the Synapse dashboard. But that's pretty much it. If we go to device manager, everything auto installs when you plug this thing in. You actually don't need to install the Razer software. And that's pretty much how you set up the device. Now let's get into device testing. Speaking of the microphone sensitivity, I set up the stand across the room and did some testing. So let's take a look at that footage and see what happened. So the entire distance between where the microphone is sitting right now and the back of this closet is around 16 feet. So currently the microphone is set to 100% sensitivity. So if we just go over here where this laptop is, we can see right now that we actually set it to 100% sensitivity. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this distance of 16 feet, I'll stand in the back of that closet in a minute, and in a few increments we're just going to say a few words and just go closer and closer to that microphone and just repeat that test on the different microphone sensitivities. So if you start with the back of the closet being 16 feet and just say, this is the test from 16 feet at 100% sensitivity. If we cut it down to 9 feet, this is the test at 9 feet at 100% sensitivity. If we then go down to where it says right here 6 feet, this is the test at 6 feet. Moving all the way down to 2 feet. This is 2 feet, but I'm also standing up, and the microphone is portrayed down here. And then if we go to the microphone itself, this is the test relatively what you would be sitting at with your desk, which is actually pretty loud. All right, let's cut this down to what I like to use is, 75, 77. That's pretty good. That's what I like to use since I'm using it at my desk. And let's repeat that test, and then we'll just keep cutting the microphone down and down. This is the microphone test, sitting at 16 feet at around 75% sensitivity. This is 9 feet sensitivity. This is 5 feet sensitivity. This is 2 feet sensitivity. And then this is with us relatively 1 foot away from the microphone, relatively what you'd be sitting at your desk. Now you can be right on the microphone, which is relatively what you'd be doing in the game, but let's continue on. So if we cut this down to nice round 50%, and let's redo those tests. This is the microphone test at 16 feet at 50%. 50% microphone sensitivity, sitting at 9 feet. Now we're sitting at 5 feet at 50%. This is 2 feet at 50%. Now we're at about 1 foot away from the microphone. And then if we get on the microphone, relatively what we'd be sitting at our desk. Again, 50% sensitivity. Let's cut this down to 25% now, and let's finish up this test. Now we're on the microphone at 1 foot, and then if we finalize this thing, sitting right on the microphone, relatively what you would be doing at your desk if the microphone. All right, and that's about it. That's our distance test. I mean, it was kind of mediocre. It was not the best I could do, but it was a general idea of trying to do sensitivity based on the microphone. Now at 100% sensitivity, the microphone can actually hear a lot, and I'll do one more set of tests at 150, 25% sensitivity with the microphone actually in the middle of the room, and then we can just walk around it to see what the sensitivity picks up walking all around it. So let's get into that. All right, so this isn't really quite the center of the room here, but it's kind of close enough. I did have to bring the laptop over. We put it to 25% sensitivity. So let's just walk around this microphone and just kind of just say whatever and see if it picks it up. All right, now that that's done, let's hop over to the laptop, change this thing to 50%, and rerun that test. All right, now we're back at 50%. Bumping this up to 75%, and then we'll hit 100 after that. All right, we just bumped up the laptop to 75% sensitivity. Let's walk around this microphone again. 75% sensitivity, walking around the microphone, seeing what it can pick up. I presume it's gonna pick up a lot of the floor noise, creaking, because it is higher now, as well as the microphone is just sitting on the floor. But I feel like at a higher sensitivity, it's actually gonna pick up a lot more ambient noise. Once again, that is 75% sensitivity, sitting right around the microphone in the center of the room. Let's move on to 100% and see how much more it picks up. All right, let's just finalize this thing, blasting at 100% sensitivity. You can see it's already picking up the microphone, and I'm not even facing it. That is very, very interesting. It's probably because it's bouncing off the walls here. So let's move back to that corner of the room, and let's walk around. So once again, we're walking around the microphone at 100% sensitivity. It's probably going to hear anything and everything. You'll probably even hear a pin drop at 100% sensitivity, since the microphone is audible on both sides of that mesh here. We're at the front now, which on both sides, if you're on the front or the back, should be able to hear a lot of that noise. And then once again, we're sitting in that corner, 100% sensitivity, seems like it can pick up a lot of information. All right, and that's our audio test. I know it was a little bit longer than pretty much anybody wanted, but it's all just showing the mic sensitivity and where you kind of want it based on where you're going to be. The microphone does pick up a lot of audio based on its sensitivity. My standpoint is, if you're going to be using it at your desk, either doing audio work or even just recording for some games, I would suggest doing it at 65 to 75% sensitivity, because then you can always increase your audio volume. Now, it also will depend on how far away your mouth is from the microphone, because if you keep that inconsistent, you're gonna have to go in and actually edit a lot. But once again, if you drop down the sensitivity, depending on what you're doing, it kind of helps out with that range. Now, there were a few things I actually did not test out and talk about during these tests, so I might as well just bring them up now that we've actually finished everything. I did not actually go outside and capture any ambient sound using the microphone, as I didn't really have the ability to actually make this thing portable. I could have just taken my laptop outside and tried to record things, but we'll do that for next time we do a microphone review. And if you get something like a pop filter for your microphone, we'll show it up on screen here, it actually will pick up a lot more sound than just using the microphone straight out. Now, I've noticed this in a few times I was actually recording with a pop filter. It was picking up a lot more sound around, and then I'm taking it off because it was picking up more ambient sound rather than just my voice instead. So those additions or subtractions based on how you want to set up your microphone kind of vary, and it all is in the use case of how you're going to use your own. So now that we're done with testing, let's get on to the next thing. Now that the testing is done, let's see the good and bad. Starting out with the bad, it has some glitchiness to it, and the sensitivity sometimes reset and you have to unplug and plug it back in. There's no Synapse support. Now, this can go both ways. The microphone does pick up a lot of other sounds, sometimes other than your voice, but again, that can go both ways for good and bad, depending on what you're using it for. And the last thing for the bad is the micro USB port. If we move on to the good, I like it as it's very much plug and play. You can take it right out of the box, plug it in and get to it. It does have a physical mute button, has a headphone jack and its volume knob, and it does a very good job of actually picking up your voice and relaying it to whoever's on the other side. Now again, all of these, your mileage may vary. It could just be my computer causing the glitchy software and the sensitivity reset. Now, I use this microphone for all these videos, if you couldn't tell based on the audio tests, which I want to say that I used to use my headset microphone until my headset broke, and then I ended up getting this thing because I can do actually a lot more with it. Before we end the video, I just want to check these things out on eBay and see what they go for. So here we are on eBay, just checking out the used prices. We can get it for right around 30 to 40 USD, depending on which one you go for. Then if it keeps going down, you can actually get the Razer Seirēn Mini. Once again, these things go for 20, 30, maybe 40 USD. For example, you can get this one, I guess, without the cable for 30. This one for 35. This one for 45. Brand new sealed 52. So you do have a lot of options in just getting this microphone. I would actually recommend it if you're just looking for like a starter microphone. And then here we have it for my setup. Just have it on an arm and a little mesh right here. But you don't really need the mesh. You don't even need the arm. It's actually pretty good stock. And that's about it. It's good to use, picks up a lot of sound in its stock form, even with lower sensitivity. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like if you like, dislike if you dislike it, and I'll see you all in the next one.